You think you're gonna beat me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got some power, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a big one longer.
Is it a 200?
9 horsepower.
9 horsepower?
On today's episode of WatchJRGo, the first motorcycle that's been innovative in years, which also means I'm making the first motorcycle YouTube video on this motorcycle channel you guys have seen in years. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today I am here to show you and take out the 2024 Honda CBR 650R. Now, before you click off the video, just hold your horses. I know it's not a double R, it's not a 600RR, it's not a 1000RR, but it is incredibly innovative and honestly one of the first cool things I've seen in years in the motorcycle game. So Honda has reinvented the more chilled out sport bike here. Like I said, not a double R, not screaming fast. The throttle so far hasn't been incredibly twitchy. I don't know, there might be throttle modes or something like that. I know it's got a lot of cool tech in it, and there's nothing I love more than tech. And there's one important feature that is an absolute game changer. You don't have to use the clutch. So like I said, 2024 CBR 650R in Grand Prix Red, a very good looking color with some great looking graphics here. It does have ABS. It's got Nissan brakes. It has a 120 on the front and a 180 on the rear, a pretty standard sport bike setup. To be specific, they are 120/70 17s in the front. Also, these wheel graphics, very nice. And they seem to be cleared in. They're not, my fingernail's not catching on them there. And in the rear, we have a 180/55/17, standard rear tire size there. Nissan brakes again, little ABS reluctor ring in there with the ABS pickup. Obviously, a stock exhaust on here. This is brand new. It has 14 miles on it after I rode it home. We have some very nice red stitching on the like rubberized, I don't know what this stuff is. It's like a rubberized vinyl. All the motorcycle seats have been this for a long time, and they are excellent. Like, you don't slide around on these seats anymore. So whatever everyone's been doing for the last 10, 20 years on motorcycles, you guys are making perfect seats. I can't say enough good about that. Here in the rear, we have an LED taillight that looks very cool. It's got a nice like ribbed extension there. And then 4 LEDs. And in the back, we do have LED turn signals. You'd think they were cooler than they were. You can actually see it says LED. You can see the amber LEDs in there. But it looks like it would be a really sweet like light pipe design. Instead, it's just like a Fresnel lens with a single LED. At least, I'm pretty sure that's what it is because there's just one bright dot in the center. So not that cool, but hey, it's LED. An incredibly long tail leading down to the tag holder there. You can see this belongs to Hatfield here in Wichita. Huge thank you to J Hatfield Honda Powerhouse for letting me take this out for a bit. They were like, hey, this thing is coming in. And then today they were like, it's here, it's ready to go. And I was like, I want to be the first one on this. I'm sure I'm not anymore. Other people have probably ridden this bike by now, but this is the first demo to land in Wichita. We've got a pretty large chain with a 42 tooth sprocket in the rear. I'm not sure what the front is. And then we have a quick shifter switch on here, the pressure sensor, with up and down quick shifting. So very, very cool. This isn't a flagship bike or anything like that, but you do not need to use the clutch for your upshifts or your downshifts. Obviously, for years, everybody had quick shifters on upshift, so you didn't need to use the clutch. Obviously, you never needed to use the clutch anyway. I think we've all been shifting clutchless for forever, right? Since the dawn of straight cut motorcycle gearboxes, you just add a little bit of pressure on your shifter, dump the throttle, and it clicks right in. Well, a long time ago, they made that even better with electronics, ignition and fuel cuts, all that cool stuff. So you can shift under wide open throttle. Love that. You don't have to blip the throttle with your wrist anymore. But now, even this very affordable bike, it's under $10,000. It's like $9,900 for the 650R. It has down quick shifter. So that means like auto rev matching, ignition cut, everything is in there to make this happen. So very, very impressive to be at this price point with up and down quick shift. Love that to death. All right, coming on around this thing, let's take a quick look at the cockpit. We've got a good set of controls here. We've got high beam on, and then standard, and then flash to pass right there. Traction control right there. The menus for, it's a little 4-way navigator with a press in for enter. For the color screen here, little Honda logo on startup, ABS, traction logos, all that cool stuff. You can see the kickstands down. Very nice color screen, and also this is auto dimming as you would expect from modern color screens, so it doesn't blow your eyes out. We'll put my phone right there, and you can see it gets really bright, and then we'll pull the phone back and it dims back down. That fly is a menace. I don't know how it got in here, but an absolute menace. Turn signals right here. I don't think they auto cancel. I think you do have to press to cancel. Cute little standard sport bike horn. The new style starter switch, I know it's not really new anymore, but press there to kill and press down to start, and then hazards. Honestly, hazards are still a little bit of a new thing on motorcycles, especially sport bikes. So it's cool to have that. And then Showa forks right there, SFF-BP it looks like. Locking gas cap, I'm sure. Anything interesting in there? Nope, not really. Motorcycles haven't changed that much in the last 50, 60 years. I do want to give a shout out to these mirrors. They're gigantic and the visibility behind the bike is excellent. Obviously folds right up as well. The front end of this thing, very, very aggressive. I love it's got kind of an Alien versus Predator front end here. Headlights taper down hard, and it's got these big kind of wings that direct air back through the plastics and towards the cooling system and your legs and the radiator, all that cool stuff. Obviously water cooled. And LED, yeah, LED headlights, and turn this thing back on. LED kind of DRLs in there. So all of that looks really good. Let's try high beams, lights up all 4. No one's gonna complain about your bike not having all of its lights on. If you guys have ever ridden motorcycles, you know somebody always has to come up to you and tell you got a headlight out when your high beam's off. So they solved that problem. Nice tag light right there. And that, yeah, I love the little ambient glow from the taillight. And let's see if we can see the brakes as well. Yeah, wow, that's bright, really bright. And it's only those 2, right? Oh no, they all get brighter. Okay, so the top 2 turn on and the bottom 2 get brighter. So, cool taillight. That is a quick walk around the 24 CBR 650R. But it's not the cool part. The cool part is right here, and it's not the clutch lever, it's what it's connected to. So right here on the side of the engine is the brand new Honda e-clutch, and this is going to absolutely blow your mind. So this is a big electronic actuator. This is the same single clutch technology we saw in the early single clutch Lamborghinis like the Gallardo and Aventador, the Ferraris with F1, the Maseratis with Duo Select, the BMWs with SMG. It's literally a computer that I want to point the can out, run the clutch for you to take off in first gear. Obviously after first gear, you don't need that at all because the quick shifter can manage all the rest. But when you're coming to a stop, it can pull the clutch in for you. And when you're leaving a stop, it will manage the clutch for you. But at any point, you want to be a motorcyclist or you want to rip through some corners and, you know, I don't know why, you'd already be rolling in those corners. In almost every situation, you're going to be relying on the quick shifter. So this is a very, very small use case while you're riding. Like it only gets used coming to a stop and taking off, right? Those are really the only times you need an electronic clutch because those are the only times you use a clutch riding modern motorcycles. The quick shifter handles it all. But when you do, it very, very, very well actuates the clutch for release and to apply it. You will not believe how well this works. So we're gonna get out on the road here with the GoPro and I'm gonna show you guys. At any given time, it will show you the auto clutch icon right there, which is cool that now we have an icon for clutch and it looks just like a clutch. How sweet is that? Honda killed it with that. Whenever that's on, it will manage the clutch for you, but if at any time you're riding and you squeeze the clutch, auto clutch disappears and you can manage it. So we're gonna start it up right now. It's in neutral and it's not going to ask for the clutch because auto clutch is handling it. So we'll just squeeze the brake. I don't think you even have to squeeze the brake. You don't, look at that. And then we're gonna put it in gear. Ready? First gear. It is in gear, no clutch. And How wild is that? So you can ride this bike around and never touch the clutch, and at any time you want to ride and use the clutch, you get to use the clutch, and it is seamless. And then once you're rolling again, after a while, it will go back into auto clutch. That way you don't come to a stop and forget that you might need the clutch, and it'll apply it for you. So it's just incredibly well implemented. You can use it whenever you want, and you can not use it whenever you want. And if you hate it because you bought this bike, or you're learning, right? If you're learning and you don't want to learn on managing the clutch and then you want to move into the clutch, you can just disable it in the menu. You can just completely shut it off. So I'm going to show you guys the menus real quick, then we'll get this thing out on the road. Trip A, 13.9 miles. Average consumption, 24 miles per gallon. That's kind of interesting. And then again, 24, average speed 0, and we'll hit over again. Fuel, distance to empty, right? Settings. Is there any other menus we need to look at? I don't think there is. Cool. Nope. All right. Oh, I'd actually rather it be a fuel gauge too. I do not care about the range guesstimate. And then what's this one? Ah, trip odometers right there. And the very last one is settings, so we'll hit over. And of course we have Honda E-clutch. And if we get over again, you can set how you want the E-clutch to work, but I think that's actually the quick shifter settings. I think those are the up and down quick shifter settings there. Yeah, it is the quick shifter sensitivity. Or no, it did, well that shuts off E-clutch completely. You can hear it running in and out. And this must be quick shifter sensitivity. It's the only thing that makes sense. Okay, and then shift points, on and off. And the shift point is 12.5 all the way up. Okay, anything else? Trip A auto reset, that's interesting. And background, anything cool in here? Dark mode probably? Ah, how sick is that? Oh wait, let's put that in auto. Cool. Nothing like having battery voltage and water temp on screen. That is very, very nice. Any warning info? No oil pressure when it's not running. And equipment, grip heat. Oh, wow. You could have like a mild urban touring setup with this bike because it does have a more upright seating position. You're not like completely on your wrists on this bike. And so far it's been very chill to ride. It doesn't like, the throttle doesn't snap really quickly like it seems to do on the super bikes, right? Usually those have the twitchiest throttles on the planet. This thing does kind of roll into its throttle, but I kind of wish I had like a sport mode. I don't see any modes on here to set like engine into mode A, B, or C, or any of that stuff. It just has traction on and off from what I can tell. Ah, yeah, if you hold it, traction off. And then you hold it again, and traction's on. That seems to be all you get. There's not 36 levels of traction control. There's no wheelie control. You don't get any of the stuff the new bikes have in the superbike lines. But this thing has been really fun to ride so far. So with that said, let's go get the GoPro out, suit up, and take this thing for a spin so we can talk about it. All right, I think I picked the worst possible day to take a bike out because it says heavy rain starting in 60 minutes. The sky confirms what the weather app said, but we're gonna go for it and see what the no clutch life is like. I ride this every day with my Goldwing. My Goldwing's way better at it though. It's the best, right? It has a dual clutch. There's no better pinnacle of technology than a dual clutch on a motorcycle. But the Goldwing's $35,000. This is 10, less than 10. So it's a pretty wild thing. And I love the way this works. So time for you guys to see how it works. I tried to talk Joey into riding this and he's not doing it. So you just take, as long as it's in neutral, which it's in first, so bumper up to neutral. It's got that, there you go. So now it should show auto clutch enabled. Oh yeah, I turned on the dark mode for a second, and then you just hit start. It's got the new style starter button.
I like that.
And then put it in first, don't use the clutch.
Well, I like that sound.
Yeah, it sounds good. Super smooth. All right, you gotta remember not to use the clutch. That's the key to the whole thing. Isn't that crazy? Sitting there in first gear, and then just apply a little throttle, and you'll feel it.
Almost like a torque converter.
Yeah, when you're doing it, it looks like a torque converter on an auto.
I mean, I know it's a mechanical clutch, but
It's good.
it's got a mechanism. I mean, it's got the same feel as a torque converter.
It's really good. Now just pull the clutch.
There's no clutch feel.
There isn't really any clutch feel because I think you're sort of
So
disconnected.
it's already pulled back.
It is right now for sure. Now
So
you're
I'm
in
just
clutch.
overcoming.
See? Now you can feel the clutch.
How do you get back to auto?
You just ride around for a minute or go back to neutral, and now you're back in auto.
Right. So this just overrides
Yes.
the auto clutch.
You
That's
can-
cool.
You can override it whenever you want. Pretty fun.
But I don't have one of these. I'm getting trouble. So now it's just like a clutch.
Yep. There you go. It does.
I like that. It's like, so now,
You can sit at a light.
so shifting, it automatically can tell.
It'll even take off in second. I just tried it.
Well, it's not going to second.
But
But it will if I'm at speed.
yeah, it will. Yep.
Still raining outside?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
You think you're gonna beat me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got some power, doesn't it?
Yeah. Big one longer.
Is it a 200?
9 horsepower.
9 horsepower? It runs.
I got 2 gears.
2 gears?
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
See, I'm just like you.
Yeah, no clutch.
I just give it the gas and go.
That's it. That's the way.
Ready?
Was it top speed?
Yeah.
I was kind of relaxing, so I didn't slide out.
Yeah, I get to over about 40 mile an hour.
Okay. Guys, just being able to come to a stop and sit here without holding the clutch is so nice. And it's kind of a safety thing too. If anyone comes flying up behind you, you can just hammer the throttle and get out of there. Kind of awesome.
I just got back from putting 100 miles on this bike, through the rain, into the dark, all over the city, through corners, through fast corners, slow corners, basically everything. A big test ride. And I have an opinion for you guys. First of all, it's a good bike. It is such a Honda. It's unbelievable. It's always smooth. It basically always does what it's supposed to do. It just never fails you. It does Honda things at all times. And that's a big drawback and a big win. Obviously, you get Honda reliability. You don't have to question if E-Shift is gonna break. It's a Honda, come on, like nothing on this is going to break. I'm not making any actual promises for Honda, but it's not going to break. So I don't need a bunch of people saying, well, it's something to break. It won't, they built it. But E-Shift is flawless. It works perfectly. The quick shifter is flawless. The suspension, unbelievably good. There are parts of this ride that on my Goldwing, I can't push it through because it like violently jumps through because it's got like nice supple touring suspension on it, right? This thing does not beat you up, but is tight enough to stay hooked up in those same bumps that turn into whoops in the Goldwing. I actually ran through one of these little sections of road that I love, and I was like, whoop, this isn't gonna be good. I don't know why I did it. And it was great. This thing just soaked it right up and stayed hooked up the whole time, even adding power coming out of the corner. Everything like that, it was really, really good. Now, the rest of it is, this thing's so good, it's just boring. It's not that fast. It actually is pretty fast, but it makes it feel like it's not fast at all. That's that Honda problem, right? It's so smooth, power comes on, it's linear all the way through the power band. There's no like, oh wow, it's fast now. It's just always the same. It goes from like a little bit of torque to in the mid-range, all of a sudden it's fast. And there's no like snappiness between them or anything like that. And you guys know I'm used to big, like the Goldwing's a car. I'm used to my Ducati, which is just crazy power in the 1198. You know, I've just ridden about everything there is. And this never feels fast, which is kind of a drawback, a little bit of a drawback. And then the second thing, the only real drawback, right? The other one's opinion. If you're starting out, you're probably like, this is fast. And hopefully it stays fast for you for a long time. The rest of my personal problem with 600s is they're not fast. And I'm like, put it on the limiter, put it on the limiter, ride it on the limiter all the time, you know? And that's why I had like a ZX6R and it stayed around for like 2 weeks. So I was like, I have to stop doing this. On a leader bike, you're not just riding around on the limiter because you're flying. But in the 600 range, maybe they should be faster. I don't know, maybe they shouldn't be 600s. That's like a personal problem. It's obviously purely opinion, but if they're faster, you exercise more control. Just like you do on a Busa or a 14R, they make you chill out a little bit. And then the rest of it, that's all opinion. Again, like I said, it's plenty fast. It will go. And it actually is very chill. I think 5,000 RPM at 60 and 6th. So if you want to relax, do some touring, it'll do that too. No problem at all. It's got plenty of power in 6th to cruise even at like 20, 30 mile an hour. You can stay in 6th. You probably won't have a bunch of power. You'll probably need to downshift, but the quick shifter makes all that easy. Everything's easy. Now here's the problem with this bike. You guessed it. It's the clutch lever. Like my dad said, when he rode it, he said there's no clutch feel. And I was like, yeah, there's clutch feel. You just have to engage it. And it's true. It's true. Once you engage it, right here, the clutch bite's like way out here. The clutch only works right there. So all of this is wasted, and I hate when clutches are set up like that. I realize that if you buy the dual clutch bikes, like my Goldwing or the Africa Twin, the two dual clutch bikes Honda sells, they do the exact same thing, but it's an electronic clutch lever, right? Because there's nothing to connect to. So they actually just have like a switch. If you add it's a Honda accessory, you can add a clutch lever and then pull in the clutch if you want, which it's completely unnecessary on that bike. It manages everything so well. I think they should take the clutch off this bike too. I actually think it's completely pointless. I think what happened was they had to spring the clutch so lightly to make E-shift work that the actual clutch is completely worthless. It has basically no feeling. It could just be an adjustment problem, right? This is a brand new bike. You might be able to adjust the clutch lever to get the travel to work, but even if you do that, it's unbelievably light to where it takes no pressure to operate, and it doesn't give you any feedback since there's no pressure to operate. That's the only downside. The clutch lever is terrible. Just get rid of it. Once you get used to riding without it, you're never going back. I could see this like being positioned in the market as, oh, you're a beginner, this is the perfect bike. Sure, it is. But if you're a beginner and you start with this, you're not gonna go back to using a clutch lever. It's a downgrade. I know I'm gonna get flamed for that, but the clutch lever is a downgrade. It's so nice to just jump on your motorcycle and enjoy your life and not have to deal with anything. Maybe in an emergency, you could pull in the clutch lever, but for the most part, why? E-shift and ABS are gonna handle it with no issue. So there you go, those are my thoughts on the 2024 CBR 650R. I absolutely love it. I think it might be a little boring, but I love it, and I had a wonderful time with this bike today. Honestly, it makes me want a sport bike again. I know, I'm getting old. I can't say words like that. Now that it's got 100 miles on it, I did launch it, And well, I launched it 3 times. Let's be honest. I tried it out for real. The first time I did it, I got into the power and it went, and it like reapplied the clutch real fast to like save itself. It was really weird. I don't know what was going on that time. And I was like, well, let's not try launching it again, right? And then the next time I launched it, I just whacked it straight to like 75% throttle, maybe closer to 100, like somewhere in that ballpark. It's about as far as there's a lot of twist in that throttle. You really have to like bury your wrist to get to 100. So when you just give it like a whack, it's probably going to 75, 80. Hammered it, and it did a flawless drag strip launch. The same way you can always hear how the clutch gets ran at a drag strip when somebody's launching it properly, right? And it's like, you know, 5,000-ish RPM and then slip, half clutch, and then out as fast as they can, right? It nailed that. Whacked it, didn't, you can't even see what's going on with the tach because everything's happening so fast, but it was like, and the clutch was out, right? Like that's how the sound went the wrong direction on the second one. It nailed it. And I did it one more time and it nailed it. You would think that like it would have some issues doing a real launch, but it doesn't. It lays down a flawless drag strip launch every time, except for sometimes. But that was only a one-time thing, and it was probably a fluke. Maybe I let back out of the throttle a little bit, and it was like, never mind, pull the clutch back in. And you know, that could have been what happened there. It was a little odd that first time, but after that, I mean, I'd say 2 hits of a perfect drag strip launch has me just mind blown. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Dark mode has been great too. That's been great. And also, where are we at? If I can clear the warning. 110 miles. I left the dealership at 11 miles, so that's 100 miles on this thing today. About 4 wonderful hours of riding, corners, streets, highways, everything. And oh, and I miss cruise control. That's the other downside. All the new sport bikes, like the big bikes, BMW S1000RR, stuff like that, they have cruise control. And honestly, I think at this point, like cruise control is necessary because you spend a lot of time out on the highway on everything, especially in Kansas, right? All of your riding is technically highway, and you just need to be able to set the cruise at 70 and relax. So I miss that a lot. Nothing against this bike because I don't think this class of bike usually has cruise. And we almost got rid of the chicken strips down to the edge there. Not bad for a couple hours.